It's called the Green Passport. We're not told to wear it, but what they have done is they have essentially overnight created a second-class citizenry, a true medical apartheid that is disallowing healthy, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens from entering their places of culture if they do not participate in this experiment. It's that simple. We've been told there are people who've been kicked out of their choirs, out of their pools, out of their gyms. I don't know who's going to hear the message we're saying. I don't know what is going to become of it. I know that there is no other option than to give every fiber of energy and strength into battling this because there is no other option. There is everything to lose and everything to gain. I think it's actually never been simpler in some ways, and I believe that it's I believe quite simply that we are privileged to have this truth. There is truth that I think is a common denominator against all these different people, different countries, different languages, and we all are seeing and speaking a very clear truth. And I think that truth is an absolute gift, but it's an obligation. And it wasn't given to us to just sit at home and with this apathy and hope for the best. We've got to all come together because really this is how we win. Making these connections between us, country after country, that is the only thing that these governments fear. They have the wealth of empires behind them. But when the people realize that we are the many and they are the small, they have nothing. They have nothing. And I can never give up on that hope that we're gonna build this force and take our lives back, because I've said before, I feel like the ball is in the air. It's like this volleyball, and it's a matter of who hits it. We're not going back. There is no going back. There's going forward, and we have a tremendous opportunity. And we have a tremendous opportunity to come together as humans without the questions of religion. They're pushing us so far that they are making this complete reset. We get to actually be just humans in such a beautiful way. As painful as these divisions that they've made, we actually can come together in a way that's how it's meant to be. That's my opinion.
Ilana, Rachel, welcome in the Black Box studio. Yesterday I listened to a kind of a disruptive audio file from you all the way from Jerusalem.
It's a very bad situation here. They're making people wear a ankle bracelet. It's absolutely insane. But meantime, we just keep fighting, fighting as much as we can. So we need everybody's help because whatever happens here will happen everywhere. So we're fighting for ourselves and we're fighting for the whole world. But we need help. I need everything, every hand on deck.
It gave me the goosebumps, and that's the reason why I wanted to talk to you directly to report from your side what is actually going on in Israel.
What's going on, in short, I don't know that there is a short version, but that our Prime Minister, Benjamin Netanyahu, has taken the initiative to sign us up without our informed consent to be the experimental subjects for Pfizer's rollout of their experimental technology. And they are doing so with just short of brute force. Using coercive methods of threatening people with their livelihood, threatening young children, 16-year-old kids that they can't take their matriculation exams. And the rollout of this has been while this plan is for many countries, in other places they give you the option to come and sign up, but here there's no option. You pretty much need to come and do it. It's already as if the science is settled, even though it doesn't even exist. And there's a profound governmental and social pressure already to rush into this this experiment. And in Israel, they don't even speak about it as if it's an experiment. Well, the rest of the world is fully aware that's exactly what this is.
Are you saying that vaccines are mandatory in Israel right now?
Vaccines are not mandatory in Israel. However, this COVID-19 shot is, well, it's just short of it, meaning they say that it's not a have to and it's not a force, but the reality on the ground is people are losing their jobs if they're in the health, if they're doing any sort of health professional. There are many different places where people are told that you vaccinate or you're out.
You told me something before in this audio file about people wearing kind of a badge around their wrist, the free pass or something like that. What is that all about?
It's called the green passport. We're not told to wear it, but what they have done is they have essentially overnight created a second-class citizenry, a true medical apartheid that is disallowing healthy, law-abiding, tax-paying citizens from entering their places of culture if they do not participate in this experiment. It's that simple. We've been told there are people who've been kicked out of their choirs, out of their pools, out of their gyms. Like I said, there's incredible social pressure and division between families, and this illusion of science that you're not participating in it, so therefore you become this virus-carrying threat to the rest of us, even though, of course, there's simply no existing safety studies. So it's really all, it's really in the name of science, they're actually doing something that's really just an illusion.
What is happening with people from abroad entering Israel, for example, by an airplane? What do they have to do to participate in society again?
So it's one of the worst displays of what's happening you'll see in the airport. I actually just this morning read someone's personal account of coming home, and his parent happened to have been a survivor, a Holocaust survivor, and he literally felt that he was in a selection. It was very clear. Those who have taken the shot or have recovered from the vaccine get to go to the left. Those who have not go to the other side and are forced into these filthy petri dish hotels that they have to either sit there, and they're all swabbed with this PCR test. And then there's also the option, again, the rules change from morning to night. So, but there is also apparently for some an option to wear an actual security ankle bracelet as if they're a prisoner in their own home. And you get to pay 2,000 shekels for the privilege of doing so. And this is what they're doing to their own citizens who have the audacity, I guess, to travel.
So what I understand is that the security wristbelt is actually a way of having a liberal quarantine at home.
Yeah, that's the liberal version. Correct. What we see here, and those of us in Israel, we understand that we are being used as a model for the rest of the world. And therefore, and because of the greater plans for this injection for the rest of the globe, and for the greater plans that governments want to take these controls that they have overreached, these implementations that they've imposed on us, there's the feeling that it has to work. They're giving us no choice because we are the model in order to show everyone how fantastic this new version of life is. So we're up against extraordinary forces. We know how the bottomless wealth of the pharmaceutical companies, and we know the governments across the world. So, but the year of extreme implementations and policies, it's all culminating here in Israel right now with the rollout of this program. So like I said, while in other countries there's still a choice, here, the only reason they don't, in my opinion, the only reason they don't physically force it is because there would be too great of an outcry, but they're doing everything just short of it. It's the same old story. It's the other. It's this version is that, it's the idea that this other is going to bring danger to my safe place. And that's what those people who are not willing to participate in this experiment have become.
Is there any resistance in Israel to these events happening? I mean, if you look at it in a historical and also religious perspective, you might say after what happened to the Jews through history and they finally have their promised land, it's kind of cynical what's happening now with the Jews in Israel.
It couldn't be, I don't know that it was planned from the outset to start here. I know that there are logical reasons why they rolled out this program here in Israel. But the particulars that our people went through the Holocaust, and you actually have some elderly people who were Holocaust survivors now being tested on in their homeland, in our place of refuge, again, by the same company, only changed names. You really can't, you couldn't have tailor-made a more, a bigger betrayal. Because the truth of the matter is this is supposed to be our refuge, and we are now front and center in a danger that no one can even define. We know the immediate health. We know many of the immediate health concerns, but the fertility issues, we have rolled out a program that, never mind the fact that the only group of people that was ever at risk of dying, with exception to this virus, who was 65 and older, and those with comorbidities, they put such a sense of fear that they rolled out this experimental program even into pregnant women, pressuring kids from age 16 and up, and pregnant women, literally radio messages, come and get vaccinated, you'll save your baby. And the night before they roll out the program, it's this, for the first time in a year, they put out news articles that say, oh, we suddenly have 30 some pregnant women in critical conditions in the hospital. It's such a crude, obvious, and people buy it. They just seem to buy it. They seem to forget not only basic science, but everything, their experience themselves. The one saving grace in this whole virus was that the children are spared. And instead, we're pretending like a pregnant woman needs to go and take an mRNA technology into her system. I have lived in Israel for nearly 24 years, and I could never have imagined that we would do these things. I could never have imagined. And the thing is that we know it's not a secret. There is a contract. There is an actual physical contract between Pfizer and our government. We've seen only a redacted version. What we know is there's a penalty clause. They must, right now, the government of Israel is acting incredibly desperately because they have some sort of quota of people they must reach, that they must inject. I don't know what this penalty clause entails. Obviously, it must be something more terrible than risking the health of for generations to come of your entire people. But we know that exists, and we know that they're in a situation where they feel a lot of pressure, and so they're acting foolishly and more extremely. They're sending out messages offering people a slice of pizza to get your injection. It's just a twilight zone. And what's even more painful is not only how extreme, because it's so obvious to anyone who is willing to admit, but that there's so many people that, for various reasons why that's true, but for so many people who still trust in our government and are pretending like any of this could still be about a virus. We're being boiled alive in this pot and pretending it's not that hot. And it's very painful. These people we love and respect, our neighbors, our relatives, and we're still acting as if this is what's really going on.